On this episode of Pennies Going in Raw, we discuss soaking, PDT, this week in the market, and Bitcoin.
Hey, yo, check 1, 2. This is Flavor Flav in the building for the Atlas crew.
Atlas Trading, what the fuck is up?
There are traders, there are prodigies, and then there's legends.
We're up 4%, baby.
No way.
4 fucking percent. Buy the fucking dip.
Hey, who told me about IDEX?
Like, dude, what the fuck? Like, someone just made, like, a lot more money than me on my trade.
You find out life's this game of pennies.
Did you check the portfolio?
Pennies. The margin for error is so small.
I bet Warren Buffett never did that.
And they out there making money right now off of penny stocks.
Them two guys is putting in work to make y'all rich.
The pennies we need are everywhere around us.
Time to think big.
Pennies Going in Raw.
Featuring Dan, Deity at Dips.
And Hugh, honey. Produced by Vinny Strokes, baby.
Welcome back to Pennies Going in Raw. This episode is brought to you by Benzinga. Benzinga has our favorite scanners, news alerts. It has everything you need when you trade to ensure you are at the top of your game. But it doesn't just stop at their app, which you can get 2 weeks free at pro.benzinga.com. That's pro.benzinga.com for 2 weeks free. Their YouTube channel, every day, Monday through Friday, they have Power Hour. They have every single day a live stream where they have guests on. They talk about the news in the stock market, and just the guests are incredible. They've had Mia Khalifa, great podcasters like Dan and Hugh. They have other great traders like Ripster and just a bunch of people that you just would love to hear from. So make sure to check it out at youtube.com/Benzinga. Welcome back to another episode of Pennies Going in Raw. Today is Sunday, March the 14th, and if your day is going a little wonky, it's because of daylight savings time. And, I've never been a fan of it, but if you want something to talk about at work on Monday, assuming you still have a job, there are 2 U.S. states currently that do not celebrate daylight savings time. That's Arizona and Hawaii. So as a little talking point, there you go. First, you're already getting valuable information here. And it's not just finance. This is real human connection.
I mean, also, dude, I just tweeted about it, but we only have to wait 2 days, 16 hours, 30 minutes this weekend for the market to open instead of 2 days, 17 hours, 30 minutes.
Wow, that is cool. I didn't I didn't think about it that way, but now that I have, I mean, daylight savings time is awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
This week in the market, we saw quite a bounce back after what seemed like 3 weeks of craziness. SPY is ripping. It's, as you know, everyone liked it. It's piss missile and vertically. And small caps, they're coming back too. I mean, not quite as quick, but they are coming back.
Well, we're not I told you so, guys.
Here, you may want to speak closer to your mic.
Oh, wait, hang on. I'll turn it up.
No.
No?
Speaking close to it, not...
Is that better?
Yeah, the closer you are, is like, I speak like right into it.
Oh, like speak right into it?
Just don't like touch it. Yeah, that sounds weird, but like, just like right
Is this
here.
good? Like right here?
Ask Vinny. All right, never mind. Just do it from here. I don't have to restart all this shit.
All right, ready?
Yeah, just like a little closer. Don't be weird about it. Just fucking be normal.
Dude, do you think I'm being weird about it?
Yeah, I think you're being super weird about it.
Okay. I don't remember what we were talking about. Oh, yeah. So I don't want to say that we're, I told you so kind of guys, but we did talk about that when the pain subsides, that we would piss missile. And we have fucking piss missile. The market hit 395.65. I'm talking about SPY. That was on Thursday. And we closed above 394. So, I mean, at this rate, 400 is imminent by like Wednesday. Unless something crazy happens. We did see, the market on Monday was pretty ugly. We hit 379. And then, like I said, since then, it's just been Since
been
that
crazy. It's bounced off so well. And I mean, I just checked my Wells Fargo account right now. My stimmy hasn't hit, but those are coming. Those are coming. People have 5% of PDT coming to them in the mail. 5% of it. Just here you go. From Papa Biden. He's giving us all one. Okay.
Yeah. And then a 2-day direct into TD.
Yeah. And how is that going to affect this market? Is GameStop going to 700?
Yeah, it'll be interesting because I think about it's already been 4 episodes, which is crazy. But about 4 episodes ago, we talked about the algorithms and that the algorithms control 80% of the market. So it'll be interesting to see how much of this stim money comes into the market and if it really does have an effect. Now, I do think that certain things will see an effect. Like, for instance, when we have big gappers, those big gappers will be concentrated and those things could run wild. So I don't necessarily think that like the Qs, like QQQ or like any of like the large caps will necessarily see like this big, inflow. But I think that certain things like we will see people trying to day trade and, things that gap up, people may keep trying to buy the dip, which, that goes back to being a smart trader, that if you see all this new money coming in, you have to understand that everybody FOMO buys and then they FOMO sell.
So you think some chasers will start getting rewarded?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think like we're going to see like an overall market lift, but I think that, you have a few 100,000 people. You don't even need the millions. You just have a few 100,000 people.
About it is back when we got our first ones, the $1,200 ones in April or whatever. People actually really needed those, including the young people, because everyone was no one was working almost.
Yeah, nobody.
And now it seems like most people are back at their jobs. And I think there's a statistic like 70% of like the younger generations said their stimulus check was going to stocks and trading. What do you think about that? Does that mean like we even like need these?
No. At this point, this is going to be like a good faith by the government, because here's the thing: is that when we did need them, a lot of the United States, a lot of Americans,
what's $2 trillion more debt, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're just printing it at this point. Like, what's inflation? But I do think that this is like kind of like a good faith by the government, because people were calling for these checks. I mean, I think like we had some European countries, giving away tens of thousands of dollars, and we were getting 1,200. So I think this is like kind of like a good faith. Like, you don't necessarily really need this, everybody, but
it's like Biden, like it was one of the promises to get elected. So it's like, it'd be kind of douchey.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well,
not like any anyone's ever promised something and not deliver to get into the White House. But that one was pretty direct. He said it. I expect my 14 now.
A few times. Yeah, I did like though that he. I did think it was a good thing though that they kind of met in the middle with the salary capping. They lowered, if you made over, I think it was like 75,000, then you didn't get a stim check. And I think that was good to see, because I think if you have a paying job and you're, poverty line is like 40,000, I think, across America. So I think that was good.
Damn, dude, I was living like far below the poverty line until like 6 months ago. Then that's awesome. Anyone could do it, guys.
Opa.
Okay, well, moving on from that, this will be a pause in the recording. Do you want to transition to day trading with PDT, or do you want to go to Bitcoin from?
Let's go to Bitcoin, then let's go to soaking, which will also tie in day trading.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, and with you, like you said, market going crazy. Another thing going crazy. Well, Tesla going down. Tesla hit around below 600. It was like 550, 530, maybe even went below that. But how can you feel bad for Elon Musk when his Bitcoin investment is doing so damn well? Ever since he put that what was it, 1.5 billion in it?
Yeah.
He's been banking. Bitcoin is above 60, all-time highs. I haven't checked it this morning, but here.
It's flirting. Yeah, it's flirting. I'm watching it right now. It's literally flirting with 60.
Yeah, I saw it this morning. It was above 60. So, I mean, like, that's the thing. We thought it'd have a little bigger dip, but I mean, I guess when you're talking about higher lows on Bitcoin, is this one of the things the backside of the trade can come just as fast, or is this one stronger?
No, I do think that Bitcoin's really strong here, and I think that 100K is imminent. That being said, I'm not buying a Bitcoin here. We talked about it on the Bitcoin episode that 90% of Bitcoin is controlled by five guys. And those
for all those that are going to respond to this and say, what Bitcoin episode? There isn't one. It's just talking about a random segment that we've had.
Oh, I'll find it. We'll find it. But I think, okay, let me step back then. 5 people basically essentially control Bitcoin. They saw it in 2013. They pulled the rug, even though the price was only at like 9,000, they pulled the rug down to like sub 1,000. Then we had, that run to 20K, and then they pulled underneath 3,000. So I do think that 100K is imminent, but I'm not buying a Bitcoin here because when they finally do want to pull the rug again, which it will come, they're going to pull the rug, and we could see 20K again. I think that 20K is probably coming.
Crazy
as well.
how like 20K is still like 100% up from what it was like a few months ago. And another thing is, that was like one of my first ever big drops I was ever in was in March. I think it was like the same day that all the SPY would crash and everything. So it was already a rough day. Went home from my job, playing some Overwatch, and it was like a week before I got fired too. And I just saw Bitcoin go from like it broke the 9K support, and then like I just looked and I saw it go down to like 3,800, and I was just sitting there like, huh. I got a lot of it.
What's going on now? What happens now?
Yeah, I ended up breaking even on my Bitcoin investment to pay my taxes with last year. But no, I actually tried to what I've actually been doing, I'll put in like $10 in Bitcoin a day, and hopefully eventually it'll pay off. And if it doesn't, well, my Cash App's looking cute right now.
I wish we knew Dougie B before Bonaparte.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Us and Doug Bonaparte could have been mining Bitcoin in his college dorm room or whatever.
Yeah, dude. Dougie's probably a billionaire off of his Bitcoin investment, his $2,000 Bitcoin investment that he wasn't even going to take. Tell you what, man, we missed the boat. That would have been the move.
No, I think, not buying ounces of weed for 3 Bitcoin or like for 5 Bitcoins in 2011, huge mistake. Just buying anything with Bitcoin in 2011 to 2012, I'm regretting heavily now.
That must have been some good weed. I mean, that you're essentially paying what, like $100,000 for that weed now,
right? No, it was like Mexican dirt. But what
are you gonna do, right? We all make bad investments.
Yeah, today I sell UAVS for 11. I look at it 20 years from now, it saved the Amazon. So it just all depends. But but with Bitcoin, I think one of the crazier things is the sympathies for it almost aren't even running off of it. I mean, if it breaks all-time highs, they get excited and they get a little horny. But whenever you're seeing, whenever they just drop with small caps, basically, and then they didn't even, are they dissociated from Bitcoin, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, we've seen a little disconnection, but they do see pops, which I think I've been, doing a little bit more of, is that if you just accumulate them when they do see that pop, they're not running. Like ANT is by far my favorite Bitcoin because it lags all the others. So now it's like double lagging. It lags all the others and it runs like crazy. This thing was trading at 260 on Monday and now it's at 450. So it's seen a nice little pop, but this thing was trading at over $7 last time Bitcoin was at all-time high. So there's obviously some disconnection between the miners and Bitcoin, but I think that anytime that these Bitcoin miners get hit, that it's not, it's not a bad idea to accumulate some and just sit on it. Because I think that if they'll see like you mentioned, is that they at least see a pop.
Yeah, and one thing I've been doing, especially after I noticed all the bigger dips on them, and Bitcoin was holding up fairly well. One of the ones I've talked about a lot is EQOS. It hit $22 from like 18 after I got some Bitcoin news one morning, and Bitcoin was soaring to hit 22. After all the big small cap drops and everything, it went down all the way to 10. It closed that day around 11 something just because Bitcoin did really well, or the market ended up reversing. I think that was last Friday. And it's around $12.50 to $13 right now. But what I did on these dips, and even still, like I'll be buying far out calls for like June, July, August, because if Bitcoin's going to keep running, I mean, these things are going to stay hot. And if the market stays hot, I like the risk reward on some of these longer term far out options on some of these Bitcoin plays.
Yeah, you throw like let's call it like $1,000 in there. Those are the ones that run 10,000%.
I'm up 78% already, and I got it a week ago on the Equos. $17.50 option for like June or July, whenever it was like $10.50.
That's awesome. Yeah, those are the ones that pay huge. I mean, if you guys remember, I was watching The Big Short the other night, and essentially how those guys turned a few $100,000 into 30 million. Now they took a little creative liberty, but what they did was they bought out of the money options on things that everybody was super bullish on. And literally what I'm saying was that if they hit, they were quadrupling their accounts. But if they didn't hit, then they lost like they were risking 1% of their portfolio to double their portfolio.
Yeah, but I think it was way more than double. But at the same time, but it's like with using that movie as an example, you see what Michael Burry did, and he didn't use quite as much risk management and had a lot of opportunity costs wrapped up for 2 years, and he ended up being down like 20% until the big payday.
Oh yeah. No, he was down. Yeah, I mean, I think they were down 39% or like 400 million or something.
Yeah.
That would be a tough. That you're betting against a market that has never ever crashed, and you're just paying like a $9 million premium on it per month. Oh, crazy. But not even your money. You're getting sued by your investors because you won't let them take their money out. Oh man, I couldn't. I love imagine.
That movie.
I love it. It's what a good movie. All right, yeah, but we're getting off track. My bad.
Okay, yeah, but so that's a good bit for Bitcoin, and we do want to have. We said it last week, and we're trying to organize some Bitcoin people to come talk, and we'll eventually get some crypto folks on here. We're working on it. Around the clock. Sir. Well, moving on to one of the favorite topics of our Mormon listeners, soaking. But we're not talking about. I don't know how to explain this positively. Well, what kind of soaking are we talking about, Hugh?
Yeah, so if you guys are in Atlas, you guys have seen that I've been doing a few more day trades. And that's just because that's the kind of market that we're in. And we talked about that I think the stimulus checks will bring more day traders, which will not necessarily bring up the entire small cap market, but certain things like, when these things that have sub 100 million market cap, these things can be influenced. So if you, so let's say like 200,000 people throw money at a play, that can affect it no matter if 80% of the market is algos or not. So I have been day trading more, and I made some comments inside Atlas about how to identifying soaking. I think we saw it with ENXT or EXNT or whatever, went from $1 to 10. We saw it with PHUN, fun, and there was one other one. But anyway, my point is that we do it from the swing trader side, is that we notice accumulation. So when the price has bottomed out and volume is flying. So volume is going up, but the price of the stock is not moving up. So again, price of the stock is staying here, but the volume, relative volume, is up huge. So say that it usually trades like 100 million shares in a month. It's trading 200 million shares, but the price isn't moving. That's someone accumulating. Same thing with day trades is that you can tell when there's market makers just soaking it up. So I can bring up my little thingy here. How you can identify that is first off, you just don't say, okay, this is soaking. You have to identify it. And by identifying, you have to be on the screen. You have to be watching the screen. And it's not going to be like, okay, every time that it touches this line, it's getting accumulated. What you have to do is that you have to draw a line across, okay? And usually it's going to be like, and the reason that we say not to use stop losses, or not to use stop losses, but to not show stop losses, is because market makers know where the stop losses are. They can see that, okay? All your data, think about it this way. Anytime that you put an order in, you're showing your hand to the market makers. And they're the people that control what's going on inside the market. So we talked about it with Nate, the invisible hand. So if everyone has their stop loss at $4, what the market maker is going to do is that he's going to bring it to like $3.89 so that everybody gets stopped out. And then all he's going to do is he's just going to accumulate those shares. And so how many times do you play something and you're like, fuck, I got stopped out. And then all of a sudden it's up like 200%. I mean, all the time. I feel like that's like newbies, like the biggest thing. Like if I just held, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things like you're going back to episode like 1 to 3. And I don't exactly recommend this to everyone. Back then it was a different time. The market was on crack. So turning your stop loss to a limit buy, not always the best idea, but I have a lot of people that DM me, they're like, this really works. I'm like, damn, I can't believe I said that shit.
No, but I mean, yeah, when you're first starting out, if you can't have like a mental stop loss, then set a physical one. But just understand that you're showing your hand. Okay. The market's always going to be rigged. The market's never not going to be rigged. Okay.
And when it goes into soaking and noticing accumulation and everything, like you're kind of want to playing those because they're accumulating it for a reason, and you want to notice and you want to get that same price they're getting. If they're adding $50 million worth at 175, I think you'd be comfortable putting your $720 in at that same price. And with that being said, it's to a much smaller scale too. I mean, back in May and June, one of my biggest strategies was watching all of buy, sell, short swings, looking for the ones with low volume on the day. And whenever the ones with no volume that day got a random pop, I could go ahead and just take a shot in the dark at who was going to tweet what next. And I would just sell that pop just because I knew he would probably fucking tweet it because where else is that volume coming from? And that was how I literally traded for like 2 months until his swing list included 284 stocks.
That's just a really, that's using your head. Nate did something similar in college. And I think that's a really interesting story too. And so, so I think it goes back to, okay, how do you identify soaking? Okay, I'll be more active inside the Discord, identifying this. But when you take something that has relative volume, and what you want to do is that the pre-market high, you're going to draw that as your support if it's above it. Okay, you're going to draw that line of support and you're going to draw that line. Now you're going to watch the price action as it comes closer to that line. Does it come to that line and immediately bounce off? Does it come just underneath that line and then bounce off? Okay, there's going to be a level that's going to, it's not going to be over a few minutes. It's going to be over, let's call it like 2 hours in pre-market, things of that nature. And what it's going to do is that ever so slightly, it's going to come down almost to the cent and it's going to bounce off. Or it'll come down to that pre-market high and then bounce off. And that's algorithms and market makers saying, okay, we want to keep it in this range, But the typical retail trader is not going to think and is not going to see this range. So you're thinking like, oh shit, like it just went to 389. Well, 389 was actually the pre-market high. So it's still inside a range. But that's where it comes into, you got to have good entries and you got to be able to see the bigger picture. I think PHUN was a really good example on what was it, Thursday, that was March 12th or something. I mean, they were soaking this thing. And so the key level was 425 and they were bringing it down to 350, and then they let it go all the way to 540. And I mean, a dollar, $2 a share, that's all you need. So if you can identify soaking and what the market makers are doing, then that gives you the leg up because you can have a little more conviction with your day trades. I don't day trade that much. I take like a small percentage of my account to day trade, but the ones that I do day trade are the ones where the market makers, you can just see the soaking. And so these are mass amounts of shares going through the tape. And when you draw that line, they're just sitting there on that line accumulating. And it's not, you can't just look at level 2 because the orders won't be there. They'll be hidden.
And you can watch like even the walls just disappear. Let's say it's if those big bids are coming from 172 to 176 and there's a $500,000 wall at 180, 181, and 185. Yeah. And then all of a sudden those disappear. Yeah, you may have a market maker on your hands.
Yeah, exactly. They'll just disappear. And again, I think it's going to be, if you guys love a lot of indicators and a lot of charts, on Monday morning, set up a whole new window or something and pick like one of the new stocks or something, or even one of the stocks that's up on nothing. And what I want you to do is that I want you to, at 9 a.m., okay, draw a line and see if you can see that key level of resistance. And then on the bottom side, on the support side, if it has a psychological price level, it might be just under it. So again, if it's $4 is like that psychological level, it might be 389. So then draw a line at 389 and draw a line at like that 389 or wherever you think it is, and watch how pristinely and how good these market makers are. I've been watching this stuff for like 4 or 5 years now, and these algorithms and market makers are to the cent. I can't stress this enough. Like I can't stress it enough that these algorithms and market makers are so good at their jobs. That's why so many people lose in this game, is because they're playing games with you. Okay. The reason that they're market makers is because just like Bitcoin, 5 people control 90% of Bitcoin. Market makers control the market. They control that stock that you're watching. So again, draw that line and see what it does. Okay. So pick it up on that line, or just a little bit above that line, and then have a stop loss under there. Always think the unexpected. And I think that was soaking over time. You'll identify it on your own. But if I start talking about it or I start tweeting about it, go back at that note and look and see if you can identify the soaking.
How long does this soaking usually last, do you think? Is it usually like a one-day thing, you're selling on a pop later that day? Or is there different kinds where it could happen for weeks and then they let it go?
There's definitely
and how
different kinds.
How do you notice like which ones? Because, there's certain people that can day trade, and some, for people below and above 25K, is this something people below 25K can do?
Yeah, definitely. So first off, from the swing side of it, which is like, my bread and butter, is that I try and identify it on like the 180-day chart. Is that I try and again see something that came down, let's say got destroyed, came down, and the volume on the monthly is going up, but the price is staying down. That's clear accumulation. BNGO, if you guys remember, at like 50, 60 cents, it was getting accumulated like nobody else. And I was like, who the hell would be accumulating this? Well, then it hit 13, and I was like, okay, 50 cents to 13. Now I understand why it was getting accumulated. So that's from the swing side of it. Okay. Higher volume on the monthly, but the price staying down. That's something really important. And then, like I said, from the day trading aspect, it's going to be you're going to see something. It doesn't even have to be something with news, but it's going to be one of the top 5 runners. And if it's still hanging around those pre-market highs by like 10 a.m., that's a really good candidate that could be soaking. Now, don't come back and say, Hugh, X, Y, and Z was still up at 10 a.m. and then 10:05 it crashed. That's not what I'm saying. But if you can narrow down your list after 10 a.m. Eastern time, because that's when if there's going to be a soaker and a runner, that can narrow down your list. So again, draw that key line that you feel could be soaking and watch the price action as it comes down. So I like to focus in on a few tickers in the morning when I do day trade, and you can see it. You can see the price action. Okay, it comes down that key level, and then they run around it, and then it comes down that key level, and then they run it, and that's them accumulating those shares. So if you can identify a pattern inside the chart, that's really going to help those day traders. And with the PDT, personally, hot take, I'm a fan of PDT. I'm a fan of PDT, but we can go into that later.
This is new because like 10 episodes ago, you didn't need it. You weren't making 3 trades a day. There's no chance you would need it. What's changed?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah, I mean, it definitely helped, me day trading more. Gary's been great helping me with the moving averages and stuff. But
because, a lot of people say,
yeah,
a lot of people say getting to that PDT point is like becoming a man, right? And
no, listen.
And when you become a man, you start getting hair in places you don't want them. Things start to stink. You don't want to stink. But we do have answers. Just because you're at PDT doesn't mean your junk has to smell, because Manscaped's got you covered. Manscaped, and if you want a 20% off, you use code PGIR. You get the ball trimmer, the nose trimmer, the ball revitalizer. Just 1 or 2 sprays, my balls were revitalized immediately.
Oh.
Just like that. They were done for the day. They
like COD Revive?
Yeah. I didn't stab anything in it. All I did, just 2 squirts, and it was back in business. I was ready for round 7. And it was simple as that. It's crazy the amount of old women getting on all fours to sniff my crotch at Walmart, but I've never been happier. So guys, make sure to go to manscaped.com and use code PGIR for 20% off your purchase today. And please do it so we can keep the sponsorship. But what were you saying about PDT? Sorry, I don't know.
Well, if Manscaped is listening, I haven't gotten my ear scraper yet. My what is it? Your ear hair?
Yeah, the guy that can't grow any hair. He wants to look like Zack Morris, hairless.
Dude, if I make as much money as Zack Morris, I'll do anything.
Yeah.
So with PDT, I'm glad that we're getting into this. I am a fan of the idea of PDT. I like what PDT forces. I do think that the limitations can be different on PDT. We talked about it, but the way to get around PDT is opening up multiple brokerages and spreading your money around, so that if you do take, let's say that you want to take 10 day trades, but you're underneath that PDT rule with different brokers, it'll help you, because again, all you need is $1 or $2 a share to make your day on the day trading side.
And we get a lot of questions about multiple brokers as well. And I think just because it's a real quickie, multiple reasons to have multiple brokers. 1, some can go down at any time. 2, you got to have a Weeble so you can get those 3 a.m. trades. I don't even care if you use my link. That's the reason to have it. 3 a.m. trades, you're not getting those hardly anywhere else. And I also like to have an account where I can have some of these longer term options I can see myself down 75% on, and it won't affect my mentality from my main account, because, seeing big red numbers suck sometimes, and I don't want to look at them. And that's actually been one of my fastest growing accounts right now, is that one.
Yeah. Not having that up, and also that, that's a really great reason. When you really start to once you get over PDT, you want to have multiple accounts for a few reasons. You want to have a hedge account, kind of like Dan was saying. You want to have an options account, an account that is pure conviction, bank or bankrupt. And then of course you want the flagship fund. So I do think that it's really good to have. But getting back to PDT is important because it's kind of like, you said it. Think of it like a bar mitzvah. Okay, you don't need the bar mitzvah. After the bar mitzvah, your balls just don't automatically drop. But it signifies. What's the word I'm looking for? It symbolizes.
I have no idea.
It symbolizes that you're coming to manhood. But it's not like, oh, you have your bar mitzvah and your balls drop. Same thing with PDT. PDT is more about symbolizing that, okay, now you've made it over the hump.
All right.
You see where I'm going with that? You see where I'm going?
It makes a little more sense now. Yeah, my main thing, mainly just because the market was so hot, and it would have worked with margin or cash. I've mentioned it a few times. I've always just gone cash whenever I'm building up my accounts. And on my main one, before I hit 25K, I day traded until my day trades ran out. And by day trades ran out, I meant I didn't have any more settled funds.
Yeah.
All the cash. And whenever I first started, it could be over 2 hours into the market open. And I didn't notice I was stopping having issues with settled cash until I hit 18 to 22K. But then, yeah. And it was still around 15K around noon, 1 o'clock some days. And it's oh, well, Dan's done for the day. No more money.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly though, that's why I'm kind of a fan of PDT because I think it forces you to create a strategy. There's guys that I've had DM me who have sold their businesses for millions of dollars. They come into the market and they get smoked. And that's because they're using their millions of dollars. Literally one guy lost $3 million in the market in a week. And he was like, hey man, is there any way to come back from this? And I was like, holy shit.
How fast?
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is I think PDT forces you to learn. And I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan because you're saying
PDT, you're saying being under 25K. You're saying,
yeah, being under 25K. Right, okay. Yeah, I don't like the limitations, like the amount of day trades, stuff like that. Like the amount, I think 25 grand is a lot of money, but I like that it forces you to kind of have a strategy. It forces you to say, okay, I'm going to make this worth my while because the second that I'm out. So it's quality over quantity. And inside this market, 1,000 paper cuts can kill your account.
Yeah. And it's not only that. It's one of the things people think the second I get over PDT, everything's all easy. You surely do think that. For me, it's I'm dying.
Holy shit. Is my co-host about to die on camera?
When that gets some views.
Do it for the pod.
Okay, yeah, but people I knew got PDT a lot easier than me, a lot quicker. Whenever we all started trading that January, we all survived March. And then it was just vertical time.
Yeah.
Because what they did was they held IBIO when 1,000%, they held UAVS when 1,000%, and then they held Waiter when 1,000%. I'm not sure which order it was in. I think it was Waiter, IBIO, UAVS. All it took was those three trades to take someone from $2,500 to 25K, easy peasy.
Yeah.
Honestly, all it would have taken is one. 1,000% of 2,500 is 25K. And if my math is wrong, Vinny, you can delete that part. But yeah, like I'm saying, you didn't have to hold them all perfectly. You could have taken half on each and it was easy peasy. And although it took me a good bit longer to get to PDT, by the time I got to PDT, I didn't have any issues. I saw them mess around. They got to 25K and they went right back to 20K because it wasn't all they knew how to do was hold a swing that Hugh or buy sell short or Zack Morris told them to hold, and it worked. But I had been, grinding the whole time with PDT, running out of money by noon. I knew what was going on. So when I got PDT, it was like, okay, all this does is give me 3 more hours to work.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's what I think is that PDT should open up so that you can do more of your strategy. I don't think that PDT should be okay, now it's time to completely change everything that got, and that's my biggest
if you were
issue.
still swinging, just keep swinging, and then maybe
Yes,
start
yes.
practicing day trading with 5%, 10%.
Take 10, yeah, exactly. Take 10%
Now
of your account.
you can start scaling out of your swings easier if you bought them that day. Now your swings, because if you bought it, I don't recall exactly how it all works, but if you bought it and then you sold it twice, does that count as 2 day trades?
If you bought it and sold it, no, if you'd have to buy it twice.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, forget.
But I get what you're trying to say. Yeah. I one of the biggest things, if you guys are coming close to PDT, listen very carefully, okay? Because one of the biggest learn from our mistakes. Okay, this isn't like, oh, do this. This is from our experience. Okay, we've seen thousands of people who they literally turn a few $1,000s into 25 grand. That's a fucking sick return. And then they get to that 25 grand, they get to that 27 grand, and they start going crazy and they do everything but the strategy that got them to 25. And then they're back at like 15. So I think it's really important that if you're coming close to PDT or you're just getting over PDT, do what the strategy that got you there. And this is just in general, okay? If the strategy works, keep doing the strategy that got you your success.
Don't take shortcuts, right?
Don't take shortcuts. And
one
then,
shortcut.
Yeah.
I do have one shortcut for the PDT people that really, really think PDT is hindering them. I actually got a couple of my friends to do this and they've done it successfully, but they had to have an extreme amount of self-control. If you have 5K to trade with and you have 20K in your savings account, what if you just put the 20K in there and only trade with the 5K? I mean, if PDT is your line in the sand to success, I mean, there are ways you can get it without risking all of it. But like I said, it takes an extreme amount of self-control. I didn't have 20, like all the money I was getting was going into this. Like when I got my stimmy, like that half of it was Bitcoin, half of it went to this. So, it's one of those things where it's a grind to get there. And if you're going to do better when you get it, you're going to do better when you get it. I mean,
Yeah.
But it's not just a thing like, oh, dude, PDT is so easy because this stock does this and then this every day. And then if it didn't, I just cut my losses at this. Yeah, 2020 hindsight, it makes it seem a lot easier. But that's just like paper trading. I mean, you could hold it. So
yeah, exactly. And that's why, paper trading we get into too. But no. So if you're at PDT, and this is something that I have to constantly remind myself, is that I always want to get away from my strategies that got me my success. But that's why I take 10%, 15% and go do something else with that, because then that's your risk. That's your risk. So, but the adverse is that, okay, if it starts going the other way, you got to scale back down. The same way that you learned with beer money is the same way that you have to learn a new strategy. Don't get over that PDT and fall right back under, because mentally that hurts, because how long it took you to get there. And that you struggled to get there. Don't piss it all away.
Yeah, I mean, if everything got so easy after 25K, 25K is a good bit of money, but you have to think how many people in this world have $25,000 and how little people we'd have doctors, nurses.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd all just be trading. You go to the hospital and have some lady on her TD Ameritrade and be like, yeah, 1 second, honey.
Yeah. Be like, my leg's falling off. Hang on, I got to miss this trade real quick.
1 sec, trade alerts. You're in the middle of surgery. You wake up from anesthesia to like a trade ideas. MVIS.
Yeah. Oh shit, it's 3:12 NVIV time. Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely one of those things. It's not your key to success, but it'll definitely help you start the engine up. I am watching your door close by itself.
Dude, that's... that is creepy.
Yeah. Hugh's door just closed by itself from a video just out of nowhere.
Oh, that is creepy.
Ooh.
Okay. So there's PDT. That's PDT for you. We went through the Bitcoin. Time for some swangs?
Yeah, we got some swings. Mine, I only have like equals right now, and then I have EQ just because I have a really good entry on it. I'm swinging it, and then I look at my TD right now, and it's really, really, really not much. I have one One like biotech with a 550,000 share float that I'm scared if I say its name on here, I'm gonna wait. But yeah, no, I really, is it swingers market? Like,
it's not. Okay. So I'm gonna hesitantly answer this. The things that I'm looking for right now are things where everything got hit like 50, 60%. And then a lot of things came back up by like 40%, let's call it. So they're still down a good 40% from the highs. So I'm going to hesitantly say that my strategy has been to identify the laggers that haven't bounced back at all, but they still have a really good catalyst. And that's what I've been trying to identify. That's what I've been going over. But note this, that it's going to be very nimble until the market gets until I feel confident one way or the other. So either the market has to prove it to me. So we're still going to make money. We're still going to make, good money, but the market has to prove itself to me before we start, going, remember like that October dip and we were like, we're throwing everything that we got at the money. That's not what this is. This is way more nimble. So let's see. I always hold some ANTE for when Bitcoin goes, but I'll probably be trying to add the Bitcoin basket on any kind of dip. So I like ANTE. I did add RGLS. The reason I added RGLS is because they love these bio tickers that just get hammered down. They love to run them into a catalyst, especially if they're like sub 100 million market cap or around there. So I have RGLS. They did a offering for 3 times the market cap. I'm going to play the run up to data. I'm not holding for data. And I think that one can go crazy, kind of like MTNB did and NVIV did. So I like RGLS. And then also I have a new swing if you're down.
Oh boy. What is it?
It's WWR.
I have one for this, but it's so offensive. Let me tone it down. Okay, I'll keep the first. Just give me 2 seconds. It's the I need a noun.
Animals
that start. It's the World War of Raccoons.
World War of Raccoons. You heard it here first. So there's a few reasons that I like this stock. One, if this thing was trading at $10, and now it's trading at $6.20, and nothing has changed. So I think that again, this is one of those where it got killed with the market, and then it never really recovered. So I really like this one. It also aligns with Biden's administration. So, which I think is kind of like a cherry on top. And shout out to Bearfucker and the Momo squad, because they've been all over WWR. And this is some of their DD inside. So listen to this. Okay. The aluminum graphite battery should be about 50% cheaper to produce. Okay. 50% cheaper to produce. Okay. It has an energy density of around 150 watts per kilogram of weight, which is about 50% more than what a commercial lithium ion battery delivers at the same power rating. So 50% more watt per hour and 50% cheaper to produce. So they're kind of really pulling themselves away from the rest of the competition with this. And like I said, they were trading at 10. They're now trading at 670. And they also have a filing that mentions Tesla. So they're pulling themselves away from the rest of the industry. And they mentioned Tesla inside their filings, which if you mention Tesla inside your filings, that's kind of, that's pretty
name
deep.
Dropping. Yeah.
Yeah, you're name dropping in an official filing. And so Westwater goes all in on graphite. Westwater's battery graphite business serves the green energy storage sector, Biden, making the electrician of our transportation and renewable energy power systems more efficient and accessible for people all around the world. So sum this baby up. Undervalued. Mentions Tesla. I'll drop more DD maybe Monday. But I think that this one, was trading at 10. I think you can get back up there. And I think that, this one can see 100% from here. And then there's also, there's tons of articles about the redundancy and storage capacity, needs for the future electrical grids. So this is an emerging market. It aligns with Biden. They mentioned Tesla, and they're pulling away from the rest of the industry with 50% cheaper and double the kilowatts per hour. I really like WWR.
Wow, that sounds really exciting.
I also did scale some profits from TRCH. What I want to see is, let me pull up the chart real quick. I want to play, it was about 120% win from the first call out, and it ended up being about a 70% win. So what I want to see is that I really wanted to hold the 275 area. The rest I'm going to hold and wait and see. The management, I don't love that they didn't release a press release. That to me kind of scares me a little bit from the management side, because it's like, yo, what are you doing? And so I don't want to lose, my 60% of profits because the management doesn't release a press release. So I scaled out some profits. And I also wanted to add WWR and RGLS. So I scaled out some profits, just to lock some. And I want to see that 275 area hold. If management doesn't release a press release Monday morning, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be really pissed, to be honest.
All right. And WWR is not a new swing of the week. It's just Hugh added it. So if it goes down, don't bitch at us. Don't add it. Just don't.
No, WWR I really like. Like I said, shout out to Bearfucker, shout out to Momo Squad. I'll put out more DD like Monday.
Okay, well, before we go, I think it's interesting to definitely talk on the state of FinTwit. Earlier in the week, it got a little hostile. The market's down. People get pissy. They need, it seems like someone to blame. Even caused Zack to delete his Twitter. I know a lot of people were saying he fled the country or is in jail. Regardless, he still has the same cell phone number and stays in Texas from jail or the other countries he's in. They have great cell service. So I don't think that's what happened. But in all honesty, it just comes from, when people are like, oh, you have all these followers and all this money. Why should what a few people say matter? I tweeted the other day, truly doesn't matter how many attaboys or thank you get.
Yeah.
It's the 4 douchebags that just keep coming. They're annoying. And it sucks. I mean, anytime, you feel like someone took advice that you didn't, I'm sure, how many times does Zack tweet, a GIF celebrating a stock going up? And there's probably so many people that have no clue. And they're like, oh, this guy talks stocks that go up. I'm going to buy it. And then, he doesn't gain anything from Twitter. He was doing it to help. And y'all bullied him off.
Shame on you.
Shame.
It sucks because Zack is such a great trader. And, at this point, I mean, not even me, but him. I mean, me too. And I have half the followers that he does. Sometimes it can be 1,000 people that are hating on you. And even though there's 100,000 people like, oh, good boy, there's 1,000 people, or honestly, it's probably more like 50 people that just ruin it. Ruin it.
Just dickheads. But to the nice ones, we do like you guys, and if we give you a 5-star listener review for being the best listener.
Oh, hang on. Adding on to WWR, Energy Secretary Granholm says U.S. needs to produce more EV miners. Just out this morning.
Breaking
Let's
news.
go. Let's go, baby.
All right. Well, that's all I have. You are in charge of the outros. So take her away.
Yeah. So I think that this is a good episode. I think we went over the swings. Did we have any more swings I'm forgetting about? No. Added RGLS. Adding WWR, accumulating WWR. I'm going to be a market maker on this thing. And I think that's it. Yeah. All right. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please take one moment and give us those 5 stars on Apple Podcast. We saw some questions about how to do that. If you scroll to the bottom of our show page, you can leave us 5 stars and a review. That's all we ask. We really appreciate it.
And also, one more thing we're going to ask.
Hi, guys, it's Vinny. Support for Pennies Going in Raw is brought to you by Manscaped, who is best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-based engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. We have an exclusive offer for you guys, 20% off and free shipping with the code PGIR at manscaped.com. That's PGIR. You just go to manscaped.com, you type that in, you get 20% off and free shipping. If you support Manscaped, you'll support us too. Thanks for listening.